on here? Hi, are we all together now? Are we in sync? I don't know if my mouth looks like it's moving in sync. TikTok, I have to use a separate camera for you. That's why my eyes drift back and forth. I'm Linda K. Gifford, and I'm disgusted that there's a 1 day line, you think, people, evidently, between when someone is a child you can prosecute someone who has sex with them, and someone is an adult now, you can marry them. You can do whatever you want with them. I feel that 18-year-olds are children. How do you feel about that? 18-year-olds to me are children. I was groomed and raped from the time I was 10 until 17 in progressive stages, and I have done my 20 years of denial, 20 years of work, and became a neurolinguistic practitioner so that I could help myself and other people understand not only the personal nature of their NCPTSD and how it's affecting their life. You know, that's what we do in the Spades workshops. But this is Those Nasty Women Talk. And I just want to tell you how I feel about this stuff straight up as a CSA survivor, as someone who has studied neurosciences, and I specialize in CPTSD related to childhood sexual assault and in relational sexuality, meaning I only work with people in relationships who want to heal within that relationship and or get out of it, or, you know, basically it's fine if you want to fuck around with whoever, you do you. That's not who I work with. That being said, the average age when a child enters the sex traffic system is 7 to 12 years old. 7 to 12 years old, with a span of birth to death, essentially, well, fuckable death. 7 to 12-year-olds are considered sexually appealing by enough people to keep a sex trade of 1.2 million enslaved children right now. At any given time, 1.2 million children are being raped right now, straight up. Other people get on these live streams and say "ard" and things like that, and I have been shut down, and I am tired of it, and I will just keep pushing because we need to call it what it is. It's not sexual abuse; it's sexual assault. You put your penis in someone, that's sexual assault, not abuse. So don't lighten it, because I'm still waiting to sue my perpetrator. Childhood and the rest of my life until very recently were severely negatively affected. And I am now speaking on behalf of anyone that will listen, and the Consent Awareness Network, that we need to codify. There must be federal laws. People realize that children cannot consent to sex. And if a 17-year-old consent to sex, how 18-year-old? I mean, I know we have to have lines, but I personally feel that, I mean, reference the past if you want to. I care not to. Society. This is a time when we take more time, when we prepare, when we're learning about ourselves. And the factions that are trying to shove their kids into marriages right out of high school, and that are telling their daughters not to go to college, you know, this kind of insanity makes me just crazy mad, especially because I work with the people who are suffering the aftermath of that experience one-on-one. And we're going to group if you want to join the group. But what do we do? In my other live streams, in my CSA CPTSD workshop live streams, I tell you what to do. But this is the one where I'm asking you, what do we do? I've got ideas. They start with changing the language of society. They start with all the things I talk about, not presenting your children as sexy and sexually available in subtle ways, even though you don't mean to, and thinking it's cute or whatever. Somehow we need to tame this sexual beast that likes to have sex with children. When we look back throughout history, the archaeological record has been presented as if there has always been a patriarchy and women were always subservient. But a recent reanalysis of, so far they have reanalyzed with AI 79% of the data from all archaeological records. And a reanalysis, when you remove the patriarchal, the people who wrote it, their own bias, says that there is no history until agriculture, essentially, of women doing anything but throwing down and being respected members of the community. So we got put up for sale somewhere along the way. We got put up for sale. We got bought, sold, and commoditized. And I'll tell you where it started too. Historically speaking, been doing a lot of research on this. I couldn't have even told you this 2 weeks ago. And I welcome anyone who's got more research. My mind can always be changed. It's just, science is like that. You just learn new things. What I have learned recently from multiple sources is that I hesitate because I don't want to get anyone mad at a religion, but where resources are scarce, women go up for sale. Where resources are scarce, children get traded for cows, and a fuckable child who can make a child is a commodity. She can also cook and clean, tend the animals unless she gets traded for a different wine. I do know way too much about this. And I don't want to go into that right now. But where resources are scarce, and you can imagine where those places are, in abundant places of abundance, like Neanderthals. Archaeological records shows, no history, no, we have a lot on the record, first of all, now, before you say, well, what do we know about that? A lot. Look it up. We know a lot about all kinds of hominids now and how we are all interrelated. I obviously am rocking the Neanderthal. Look at the white and the red and the blue and the humongous feet. I'm telling you, got calves the size of cantaloupes. I like studying humankind and the way that we spread across the earth and the way that we developed in societies. This is my passion. And what I have learned is that there is not, in the millions of years of hominid existence, moving on to Homo sapien, there's not evidence that women are supposed to be subservient to men. It's not a thing. The Celts fought with their men. I'm getting off track though. Actually, in Celtic societies, men had to be trained by a woman warrior and women had to be trained by a male warrior. And read up about Isle of Skye, Skye, Cuchulainn. Fascinating stuff. Getting off track. 18-year-olds aren't fuckable. That's what I said. What do you think? My friend's daughter started dating a guy at 18, moved in with him at 19. I know this happens all the time. And I love her dearly. And all kinds of kids like this. And I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with you? I dated a 31-year-old. I was in college. And my dad found out I had been dating a 31-year-old, well-off, well-dressed, well-respected businessman in St. Louis, and I was 19. He was taking me, on the boat or eating lobster. But he also was very respectful to me from my viewpoint, But I was 19 and I didn't understand all the whatevers. What I'm saying is, I thought I was grown up as hell as an 18, 19-year-old. Was I? No, I was not. I'm hot. Standing up for don't kill people. Not taking a side, just saying stop killing people. This is my standing up for scarf today. It's also just super useful. I already owned it. I'm an avid hunter. Not hunter. I shoot. I like to shoot guns. I like to train. One of my pages is Armed Liberal in Training, and I'm very concerned about the world right now, especially because we are not progressing in the way of human and women's rights. We are progressing in the way of technology, and we are using it to further commoditize and hurt people. That doesn't mean we need to get rid of technology. That means people need to get their shit together and act like grown-ups. And if we're going to act like grown-ups, then we're going to have to both learn what that be, reinvent it. I've said before, when I got married the first time, my husband, talking about language of society, thought it was cute to call me little girl. So much that I named my child altar, little girl. After the experience, I didn't even realize at the time that I was a survivor with CPTSD. I was fresh out of it. I was just trying to live my life and not ever think about it again. I didn't want anyone to know. I didn't want to talk about it. It's shocking to be where I am now doing this, but I have to. I'm an old lady now, and it's getting worse instead of better. It is my responsibility to tell you what it's like to be groomed and raped as a child. And it's my responsibility to tell you that decades of study have brought me to the conclusion that we can't just, someone else said this. I want to quote the right person. I don't know who. Sorry, whoever you are, tell me who you are, and I will quote you. Society, we call rapists monsters. We call child sex offenders monsters. We call child pornographers monsters. We call the people that consume it monsters, right? And it's so easy to be like, yeah, they're monsters, right? But what it's doing perception-wise is separating them from everybody else. And it makes us think we need to look for monsters. Well, my monster was my brother-in-law. My monster I babysat for. My monster I adored for years. My monster worked my mind into thinking that my sister's children, that I was a better mother. My monster got me to run away from home into that home, and all hell. My life has been forever altered because a man in his middle 20s thought that a child was rapeable. But I've said this before, and this is the controversial part, so please bear with me to the end if you're going to start hating on me, because all sexual predators don't start out with the intent to be that. The combination of availability, of dissatisfaction in their own life and relationship, of lack of training and emotional intelligence on their own part, maybe of abuse in their own world that led them to go so far as to not just look at young girls as sexy, because most men I know do, or a lot of them, and it makes me sick. But to take it across that line doesn't necessarily require premeditated thought. Grooming is different from a violent sexual assault in that it happens, it creeps up. And as much as I want to nail my perpetrator to a cross, he's already dying of cancer right now, and I still want to sue him. I hope he doesn't die before I can sue him, waiting for the statute of limitations to lift in Missouri. Or at least, you know what? I would like, and if I do sue him, all the money goes to Sweet Survivor. I don't want to make anything. I want people to understand my life has been forever changed and affected by my experience. And like I was saying in my last live stream, don't tell me that, or any sexual assault survivor, that God had a plan for them, that God brought them into the world with the intention of having them both be raped and have a voice so that they could change society. Because if a powerful God existed, they wouldn't have to do that. They just make people stop raping people. So don't tell us that. It's insulting. And stop saying that virginity is something that can be bought or sold or traded or given. In nice society, we still refer to, I'm saving my virginity for marriage. I'm keeping my virginity. Um, my virginity, if I'm raped, has been stolen or taken from me. If I have slept with someone I love, but family or religion doesn't want me to, then I hand it to the wrong person, and it has been stolen from the family. See what I'm saying? We're conceptualizing virginity as this thing that in the end, if you do something wrong or something wrong is done to you, say you're groomed and raped for 7 years of your childhood, or sexually assaulted, or you fall in love with someone with, for God's sake, is the different color of religion than your very strict family. Now you've got this guilt that you're bad, that what is, you can't get back what has been taken or you have given frivolously. And these concepts make us hate ourselves as childhood sexual assault survivors. I still suffer. I still struggle. It's hard for people to understand. My confidence is largely built and created and much stronger in front of the camera or behind a microphone with my flute. I can sing and play to thousands of people, but I cannot go to a dinner party because I'm still trying to be a real girl in my own mind. So I'm wondering, back to the top, and this is the part where I don't know everything and I kind of wonder what other people think. Is it just my experience as a childhood sexual assault survivor that made me so immature that I don't think a 18 or 19-year-old is capable of an actual real relationship, or should, I mean, they're capable of acting like it, but is it healthy? Then again, I don't want people to fuck around. I don't think it's a good idea to just sleep with people. I think it's a good idea to get to know people and not sleep with them until and unless you know that you might want to spend your life with them. Then you have to sleep with them because you don't want to spend your life with someone that you're not sexually compatible with. As I talk about, orgasms are for women too. I would leave anybody that is not interested in my sexual pleasure. Now, I didn't even know that was a thing, though. I didn't even know it was a thing because CSA survivors, the first time we had sex, and maybe the first 100 for those like me, were against our will. We learned to dissociate. So then later in life, when we actually want to be in a relationship, we go through the motions and we don't know that there's a deeper level, right? We think that if we're having sex and our partner's getting off, that we've done our job and we can talk by day and still like each other. Yay, great relationship. But it's like, if you're in a sexual relationship, the sexual part is also about you. It's also about you. And this patriarchal system has like morphed. I precurse this by saying, I said before in a live stream recently, and just off the top of my head, and I started thinking about it, I think it's true. I think that back in the like Paleolithic, Neolithic days, that people had more honest relationships. Is you wanted to be together because you needed to survive, you wanted to get food, whatever. At least you're all in it together. And nobody was being bought, sold, and traded against their will, picked up, sold, tricked, coerced, and it's got to stop. And I can't look at an 18-year-old as ready for a relationship, an 18 or 19-year-old. I think they're ready to get out on their own. And so I don't think laws should change. That's not what I'm saying. But I encourage you, if you are that age, and I encourage you, if you have children that age, to try to create a transition period between I'm a child and I'm sexually active, girlfriend, partner, wife. There should be a few years of who am I? I'm living on my own. I'm experiencing things for the first time on my own. And if you are that person, I encourage you not to have sex with anybody until and unless they're a potential. I don't think there's anything wrong with whatever your number count is. I just want you to not be disrespected. I don't want you to be disrespected. And when you give yourself too freely, and there, I said, see, give. I said not to do that, and I just did it. It's so ingrained. When you have sex without intention, and I had this argument recently, this is something else we can fight about. Some people contend, oh, it's a modern age, and I should just realize that people just have sex and it doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, that is so sad. Somebody young told me that recently, and I was like, that is just so sad. My generation, we were stupid. Don't be like us. You know, people just having sex and walking away. Well, it caused a lot of problems, caused a lot of divorces. I know people whose kids are they're like best friends' kids, turns out, and stuff like that. Because everyone's fucking everyone. Don't do that. Respect yourself. Masturbate. Orgasms are important. But if you're not orgasmic, you shouldn't be having sex, and you're not going to be orgasmic if you are not in love with your partner or whatever your version of love is. I don't believe you are. And when 80% of women fake it, I don't even believe you when you tell me you are. And usually when I dive in deeper with people, if we're talking online, one-on-one, they start at, I have a great sex life, I have sex all the time, and it ends with, none of it's for me, I'm doing everything. That's what I would try to make you see. I'm not trying to destroy your sex life. I'm trying to give you one. I'm trying to say, don't make it about somebody else, and don't make it absent either. If you don't like your partner enough to want to touch them, get out. Let them free. They deserve a sex life. Your sexual health depends on it. But I'm not supposed to go over half an hour. And I just want to reemphasize, give serious thought. We can't like draw a line age-wise, I suppose, beyond 18, as far as what's legal and what's not. But one day you're legal, one day you're not, like with alcohol, with sex, with relationships. That's also not realistic. So make your own decisions. But definitely when you're making choices, you know that line of men, guys, politicians, sex traffickers, everybody waiting for the day you turn 18, they are automatically off your list because they are all pervs who are looking at you as somebody who's about to turn 18, not a heart and soul, Linda K. Gifford or whoever you are. You deserve that. So I will talk to you tomorrow. We've been messing around with the time to see what works, and I knocked everything over. I had to start half an hour late today because I had to put it all back up. Domino effect. You don't need to know any more than that. I will talk to you soon. Looking for the off button. I'll turn off TikTok first because it takes longer. And then goodbye, everybody else on Restream. TikTok, sign up so I can get you on Restream. Thank you.